Hi everyone, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here. If you are new, thanks for being here and joining us. Today I am playing with the new stamp set from Marlene. It's called the Sunshine Baby stamp set. And this one has 3 different little sunshine faces and a couple of birds and starry bits. So I wanted to attempt to use all 3 of these faces on one page. Let's see how that goes. So first I thought I wanted to make it so there's like a morning, afternoon and evening, I guess. Not that the sun shines in evening, but that was the idea. I'm not very good with creating whimsical looking pages. It is quite out of my comfort zone, but I thought I would give it a bash and see how I go. So I went into Marlene's collage paper pads, and she's got this one pad that's got all different colors. They all look like ledger papers. It's quite a lot of texture, and then there's some doodling in between and that. So they're all the same print, but they are different colors. I really love the look of them. And I thought that I would use those as a background, just a quick background, and no painting today. So I've glued them all down. I've divided my page in 3. Thought I would try and replicate like a hillside kind of look, but I don't think that that's what it ended up looking like. But I do like the way it turned out anyway. So first off, I am priming my stamps. So you would have seen me stamping off some of the ink first, and then I've stamped onto watercolor paper, and I'm just going to use my watercolor paint set from Marlene, and I'm just going to add a little bit of detail onto each of them. So I'm using similar colors, but they're not all exactly the same, because obviously I want my little faces to be a tiny bit different from each other. So in one I started with an orange, the other one I started with a yellow. I think the bottom one I also started with a yellow, but I used maybe a different orange for the shadowy bits, I think. And I'm just going to give them a quick dry and set them aside, I suspect. First I'm going to add some color to the eyes and the lips. And I love how they all have a different little personality. I think they're very cute faces. The top right one I've used multiple times as that round kind of shape, but I've also turned it into a normal, to more like almond looking shape. So a normal looking face, not that round face. I think it's a very versatile stamp set to have on hand. So once I've done the coloring of the lips, I'm just adding a little bit of white to the eyes, and I'm redefining some of those edges with a black pen. And now I thought I would start using or working on my other elements on the page. So I'm just going into my collage paper pad, or the cut and paste block, is what Marlene calls it. And I've cut a whole bunch of different little houses out. And I'm going to use those as the, I guess, villages or hillside elements on my page. But first I thought I would knock back the color of the collage paper a bit more. So I'm just going in with the new hexagon stencil, and I'm just doing little patches of stenciling with some white acrylic paint. I didn't use Marlene's acrylic paint. I used the Amsterdam one because it's a little bit more opaque than Marlene's white. Marlene's paint is a little bit more of a blending color, so it's quite translucent, whereas the Amsterdam acrylic is titanium white and it's actually quite opaque. So I like when I have little houses or doors or windows on my pages. I do like for the doors to open and for something to be hidden inside them. So I've cut a little arch out, leaving the left side attached to the house, and I'm going to pop a little bird behind those doors. Sorry, I do realize that the bottom of my book is not on screen. I try to keep that in mind when I create, but sometimes I do get a little bit lost in the process. So I do apologize for that. All right, so I've taken out some resin. I'm going to just do, first I'm going to stamp out where the images will go in the long run, because obviously I cut all those spiky bits, I trimmed off. I wasn't going to try and fussy cut all around that. And then I'm going to use my UV light, and I'm going to add some gloss to the middle sun's little glasses, and some detail here and there on the houses. I've got some of these little swirly, they look like lollipops or maybe like roses, and I'm just fussy cutting them as well, and I'm going to make all of those 3D. So I will cover them with the resin, and then I will bake them under the UV light for 90 seconds. You don't have to watch me do that. I actually need to unplug my light to be able to use my UV lamp, so I can't film and bake in one go. Okay, now you can see how the glasses look a little bit more like glasses, and how just that little pop of dimension really does add such a fun little element to the page. You will notice on the face with the glasses, I did cut, I made sure to trim on the inside of the glasses just a little bit that's next to the face. Sorry, I don't know how to explain to you that there's a little gap right next to the face on the right between the face and the glass rim, and I did trim that out with a craft knife to make sure that I can see all the way through the glasses to the background. I hope I got that right. I'm so sorry if I didn't explain that right. So I've glued my little birds onto the houses, and before I stick them down, I'm just tracing where the door is, and I'm just going in with a white paint pen to kind of make a base, or just to help those birds pop out from the background so it's blocked out. And now I'm going to start adding a little bit of detail. This one little house was already on a stilt, so I wanted to just extend that. And then I'm going to glue down those little flowers. I do need to hold them down a little bit because obviously they're not a flat element now anymore. So I'm gluing them down, then I'm giving them little stems. And I'm just going to keep adding little details here and there until I feel like the page is kind of done. So the way that I did the flowers is I just drew a line with my darker green acrylic marker, and then I pressed down the tip into like a little heart shape to make the leaf shapes, and then I went over with some light green and a little bit of black. I've also wanted to separate the three stages of the day, the morning, afternoon, and evening. So I first drew a nice thick line with my marker, and then I went in with a thinner acrylic paint pen, a Life of Color one, and I'm just doing like doodly bits, so little scribbly leafy bits at the bottom, and I also scribble just along those lines. And now to make the suns shine, I'm going in with some of Marlene's neon paints, and I'm using the orange and yellow and also the hot pink. Here and there, I might add a touch of white to just make it a little bit brighter. And then, yeah, it just gives a nice little glow around that face to make it pop out a little bit more. There was a lot of faffing with that little heart at the top there because it buckled when I did the UV, but that's okay. So I've gone into the grungy texture stamp, and I'm using the script stamp, and I'm just using that top line, the very top line, to make like little grass or grass shapes at the bottom of those thick lines. So you can't see that they are words. They actually do give the illusion of just scribbly little grassy bits. And then I'm going to go in and just redefine all those stamped bits where I painted over it, just making sure that they are popping off the background. And I'm just doing little doodly bits and scribbly bits all around the flowers and the houses, just to make sure that they are all coming off the background and looking like they belong there. These little spikes from this bottom sun got quite covered up, so I'm just drawing them back in again. And you will see how that makes the face look, it looks like it belongs there. It wasn't just stuck on as an afterthought. And now I'm just going to go in with my Stabilo All Pencil, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shadowing here and there to make things pop out. I really love adding white highlights to my paper elements once I've stuck them down right at the end. It just feels to me like it brings it together a bit more, and it just makes things a little bit brighter and happier. So I do normally add a little bit of white here and there, just a touch. I know it doesn't seem like much, but these little end bits, the fiddly bits, really do make quite a difference when you take the time to do them. I got these sparkly paints from Marlene, and so that was the first time I was trying it. So I used the one that's called, I think it's called Diamond, and I just added a couple of sparkly bits because who doesn't love a little bit of sparkle? And then I'm just giving it a quick dry, and then I went into my Paper Elements book and I found some quotes. So the yellow one at the top, I said, create magic. Then the pink one in the middle was, I was made for sunny days. And then the last one is, never lose hope, sunshine comes after the rain, because that little face looks a little bit hopeless. So I guess she's just waiting for a little bit of hope to come her way. That is about it for the page. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching my videos. Please leave me a comment. Do you have the stamp set? Have you used it? I'd love to know if you like it and if you will be adding it to your stash. I think it's a fabulous one to add to your stash. It's very, very versatile. If you have not done so, please subscribe to my channel, and I will be with you again very soon. Bye.